Okay, this is incredible. For the first time, we're going to see how a sim racing steering wheel is made, and this is from this magical material, carbon fiber. I'm here with Manny from VPG. VPG makes some of the world's best steering wheels. Holding one right now, and I can't believe, Manny, that this is going to become this in basically 8 steps, as I understand it.
Yep, that's correct.
Pretty much. So what am I holding here? Because I know what that is, because that's a Mustang GT3 VPG steering wheel.
Yep.
But what is this?
That is one of the ply that we use to make the carcass of
Okay.
the Mustang GT3 wheel.
So this is where it starts.
Correct.
So this is a starting point, and I can see there's a big roll here. I assume it's like a roll of carbon fiber.
Yeah, it is.
I've seen people coming in and out of a big freezer with it. So
Yeah.
does it live in the freezer? Is there a reason for that? Just keep it nice and fresh?
Yeah, the thing is, if you keep it in the freezer, controlled temperature, the shelf life of the carbon fiber will be up to 12 months.
Okay.
Well, if you don't keep it in a controlled temperature environment, it will be 30 days.
Okay, so it's come out the freezer, it's laid here, and then I'm guessing it's cut by this cutting machine.
Yes, correct.
And it cuts the holes in it, and so it's better than doing it with your scissors.
yeah, and more efficient for sure.
Yeah.
And the other thing is controlled, because it's numerical control and everything, so its tolerance is quite tight.
So it's very exact. And you said single ply, so I'm assuming this is one layer of carbon fiber.
Correct.
Is that wheel one layer of carbon fiber, or is
It is a lot more than one layer.
Okay.
You can see there on the table the full kit that we use to actually make just the carcass
wow?
of the Mustang. So quite a few bits, let's say.
It's a bit like doing an Airfix model. But
Yep.
a bit more serious.
Yeah, a lot. It's like a puzzle.
So basically, when you say different layers, so these ones here, do they go in? We're going to find out, I guess, in future steps.
Yeah,
but do they
next
get
steps.
compressed?
Yeah, they'll get into the mold and then they get in vacuum into the autoclave and everything. We're going to see every step of the process.
Okay.
So then you'll see how the magic happens.
So it literally starts here, and we're going to end up with this. So this is the cutting phase. Let's get into the next phase. Okay, so we've got our cut of carbon fiber from the cutting machine, and we've come here to what looks like a really very artisanal, particular pressing.
Yep.
I think it's multiple layers going in. I'm starting to see more how this is turning into this wheel.
Yep.
But can you let us know a little bit about what's going on here with the pressing?
Yeah, so once all the plies are cut in the cutting machine, they get lay up into the mold. And obviously it's not just a single ply, it's multiple plies for each part of the wheel. It's probably over 20. And so what we do is we remove all the sticker on the carbon fiber, because this is pre-packed carbon fiber, and then it gets pushed into the mold with different tools to make sure there is no air in between the layers to guarantee maximum structural integrity and maximum quality. Because if there is bubbles or if the fibers get distorted or anything else, then it gets rejected during the visual inspection process.
So it looks like quite, I would say, hard work to actually get all this in, which is surprising, because I think a lot of sim racing wheels, I feel like they come out of pre-made parts and kind of screwed together. But this is proper handmade.
Yep, this is not just another sim racing wheel.
Yeah.
This is actual motorsport grade.
So that's really interesting. So we're going to have multiple layers go in there, I think
Correct.
about 20 or so.
Yeah, over 20, yep.
And then that will be the finished layup.
Correct.
And where does that go next?
Next is it goes into a bag and then into the autoclave.
All right, let's check out the autoclave. Okay, here we go. This is the autoclave. Manny's about to open it. It looks like a deep sea submarine.
It does.
So I think there's a lot of pressure going on.
Yep.
What are we going to find inside? Is it going to magically be one of these yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Almost there. We're getting there.
Wow. Okay. So it looks like it's got wires coming out of it. So this is the layup, Manny, in here.
It is.
In this sort of vacuum bag, essentially.
Yes.
And it's been heat treated. And what's going to have happened to all of those kind of sheets of carbon fiber? Those plies?
They're compressed together, and then the temperature will cure the resin
Okay.
that is in between the layers.
Yeah. Does that mean it's now basically kind of one, we can call it one sheet of carbon fiber? Or one
Now is a single carbon fiber shell. Yes.
made up of many plies?
layers. Yes, correct.
Awesome. Are we able to cut this open and get it out?
Yeah, we're going to do that now.
Wow, let's do it then.
La tormenta no ha podido sacudir mi palma. Tengo a Dios peleando contra el diablo por mi alma. Soy la luz del túnel que da calma. Y los que dieron la espalda se les vio la falda. Me echaron a los leones, ahora estoy en el circo. Y batallo con ojos cerrados como chequerito. Si lo ves creer, antes de ver parcero, yo no nací pa' perder. Yo soy libre sin la llave del lock. Soy guitarra de rock. Pueden parar el beat, pero nunca mi voz.
Wow, there we go. You can start to see. But I'm a bit worried that it's going to get bashed with the hammer. Nice. Wow. So it comes out like that with the resin and it has that finish already?
Yes, that's final finish.
Yeah.
Well, we don't coat that, but yeah, that's straight out of the mold.
Because it looks like someone has, I don't know, already spent time polishing it and everything.
Well, but that's why the mold is the most important part of the actual process, because it has to be mirror finish.
Yeah.
And it gets cleaned every time before starting the layup.
So obviously this is where you do this, well, I would say
trimming,
obviously
yes.
the trimming, but you're left here with this incredibly strong space age thing, basically, that's come out of the autoclave. So the autoclave must be a really important part of the process.
Yep.
Right, we've just taken that bag out of the autoclave, and I can see, Manny, that there's a backplate carbon fibre mounted here,
Yep.
poised and ready to go. I think we're going to do the grips. By the way, the backplate is starting to look like, for me, the backplate on the actual wheel.
A lot more like a wheel.
Yeah, so I can see it coming.
Just upside down.
Yeah, I did mount a wheel upside down once in quick release.
Here we go.
I have to go through all again. So we're going to do the grips now. For me, grips are so important in sim racing because it's actually your contact point with the wheel. It's like tyres on the car for me.
Yep.
And this is a gripping process. Anything you want to tell us about it before it happens?
Yeah, as you say, grips are the most important things. And there are three main things on the grips: shape, grippiness, grippiness, and hardness.
Okay.
And so this is quite a complex process.
Because you've got to get all three right.
Right,
Yeah.
yes. And once you get them right, you never change them.
Okay.
Right? And that's what we did, because this has been developed with the drivers and the teams to make sure they're happy with the shape. But what was most critical was the actual grippiness of the grips.
Yeah.
Because the grippiness of the wheel of the grips is based on trial and error.
So what's this block, this kind of rectangle here, and in relation to the...
Well, the black one
Is it
is
propping it up? Or?
this is just to keeping in at that
And then
angle.
we've got a syringe, and then we've got a tube coming out.
And we've got a gun with the material, the rubber that is going to go inside the mold.
So we're going to create the grip inside the mold.
Correct.
That's on the wheel.
Yes.
Okay.
And then it goes into the oven for like an hour to cure,
Okay.
controlled temperature, and then the mold get open, and then we finish the actual grips, because you will see when we open the mold, there are quite extra bits that needs to be trimmed out.
Okay. So this is where the magic happens. I think we're going to see it, which is crazy. Yeah, apparently it might get quite noisy, but we're going to record it so you can see how this actually happens if you've ever wondered. Okay, so this has been in the oven or the heater.
Yep.
And as you can see, the molds are on. It's crazy to see how that went in, and there must be so much in the actual formulation of the mixture that makes the magic happen. It's like you're baking them almost.
Yeah.
If we look at the back of them now, we can see it's really starting to look like a top-of-the-range sim racing steering wheel. And this isn't something that's just magically happened. There's been a lot of engineering, meticulous, skilled people working on it. And the grips, yeah, you just know when you've got good grips and not good grips. And
they feel natural.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into this, I think. Probably, you let me know, I'm guessing years and years of...
I will say at least.
Okay,
couple
at
of years.
least experimentation. And these grips are basically final. I think there's been some trimming done to them already on these ones.
Yeah, they've been trimmed because the injection point, it get trimmed.
Yeah, but these are basically final grips?
Yeah, they just need to be checked, visual inspected,
to
make sure they follow the visual inspection
So that's how it happens, and it goes around the carbon here. And this is just not. This might look to you like it's thin, therefore it's flimsy, like it's cardboard. But I can tell you, I don't know how else to explain it, but it's not. I mean, they're not worried that I'm doing this on
No, don't break it. I'm not going to break it anyway, even if you want to.
Yeah, so there we go. Right, Manny, what is next here? Because we're getting close.
Yeah, we're getting really close. Now we're going to get into the actual electronic assembly.
Okay, let's put the electronics in here. Let's go. Right, so we're here in electronics because these are steering wheels. They have all encoders and rotaries and shifters and buttons and lights, and we need electronics in there.
Yep.
At the moment, we spent a lot of time talking about basically the carbon fiber, and we've learned a lot there. But now the electronics need to go in. So how does that work, Manny? I've got a front and a back. I can see here it's looking like I can hold it now and steer.
Yep.
But how did the electronics kind of go in and work? Does it use some of these preset spaces we have?
Yeah, so we're soldering we soldered the components onto the electronic, the PCB, and then the PCB get bolted onto the front plate.
So the PCBs are kind of the green thing you see that
Correct.
holds, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the main PCB.
Yeah.
With all the funky switches.
Okay.
And this
we're kind of going to go through like that.
So the PCB will go like that.
Wow. Okay, that's it all coming together.
Then you've got the buttons PCB with the button guards, caps, and everything, and then the two valves get connected together and bolted together to get you the final steering wheel.
So it's like an electronic sandwich in a way.
Correct.
The bread is a carbon fiber.
So yes, sort of. You can say that. Yes. So that's the main PCB, and then your buttons, which will then be installed.
So it's very robust, really, because it's going to be really, really solid. It's incredible to see how thin the carbon fiber kind of cutouts have been there for that rigidity. You
need quite a lot of skills to actually make this bit.
Yeah, especially now I've seen the pressing in the layup and all these gaps. Like that takes time. That's someone actually doing it.
It does take time and skills. It's not like the main thing is if there's a defect, you have to start again. You can scrap that part. You have to scrap that part and start again.
Yeah.
So you need to be really good and
so if you've got a defect on layer 4 out of 20,
you scrap the old part.
You can't unpeel them.
No, you can't. And you won't notice that until it's too late. Until it's out of the autoclave, you can't see it. You can't check it. So that's the other. So you might spend 4 hours to make it. Yeah. And then it's all wasted.
So you check these parts are good, and then they come to electronics.
Correct.
You know the parts are good. So electronics can do their thing, do the soldering, get the PCB in, get all that connected.
Install the shifters, install the clutches.
Wow, okay. So we've got a finished wheel. Well, I actually don't know if it's finished or because now I'm learning so much about wheels.
Well, it's almost finished because it still hasn't been tested.
Okay.
And the final quality check hasn't been done yet. And you can tell that. So it's got all the shifters, clutches, switches on top, connectors. So these go installed onto the carcass. The electronic and all the buttons get installed onto the front plate.
Got it, okay.
And then they bolt.
So you've got two halves and then...
Yeah, two halves. And then they bolt the two together.
Nice. It's an amazing process to see it all look so different at the beginning. Like just that one piece of carbon fiber roll. And now it almost comes together very quickly, but it's been a lot of work on all these different bits.
Yeah, a lot of work in the background, a lot of R&D engineering to actually make sure that they guys can install it.
So you mentioned testing. So once the electronics have gone in, I assume there's some kind of test that you do. Should we have a look at that and see what that process is?
Yeah, let's have a look at that one. Yes.
Nice. Okay, Manny, so we've come here and I can see that the wheel to me looks like it's finished, but I understand according to VPG it's not a finished wheel yet.
It's not yet.
Because there's some kind of testing. Now, it's not someone who's driving around Silverstone in a Mustang. It looks more detailed. So what's going on here?
So we're testing the functionality of the wheel. So each button gets tested, each rotary gets tested, the funky switches, shifter and clutches get tested to make sure that the inputs are, well, the outputs.
So is it literally every single button?
Yeah, each button gets pressed twice. Each rotary gets pressed twice to make sure there is no false inputs and everything. And also all the lights get tested to make sure they show red, green and blue. So then you can actually show your custom colors without any issue.
Let's talk a bit more about testing. And this will obviously be different for every manufacturer you buy a wheel from because all have their own different standards and how it's made. But here at VPG, you were saying that when the layup is done, when you're putting the carbon fiber in, you won't know at that stage whether there's been some kind of defect or something. You only see it when it comes out of the autoclave and you cut it.
Yep.
So I guess there's some kind of test,
Yeah, they get visual inspected.
visual inspection then.
Yeah, they get visually inspected. Then they
Okay.
go into trimming to remove all the excess resin. They get visually inspected again.
Okay.
Then they get coated, visually inspected, flipped, visually inspected,
Okay.
electronic, assembled, visually inspected, tested.
Okay. So it's visually inspected all along the way.
Every step.
Is that someone just looking at it, or is it a bit more?
No, there's obviously a control document which set up the criteria.
Yeah.
If the wheel passes the criteria, then the paperwork that goes with the wheel gets a stamp on it
Yeah.
and gets signed by the operator that did it.
Okay.
And then he moves to the next step. If it doesn't, it get rejected, and then he go back one step.
Yeah.
And
And
obstruct.
is that just part of the process that, sometimes there'll be a defect and you take it back and
Yes.
then you move forward? Let's say this one does pass, which I don't know, but I'm seeing a lot of green on the thing come up at the moment.
Green is always good.
Green is good. What happens next with this wheel that...
Once it's passed, we print out the label with the serial number on it. We'll stick it on the wheel. The operator will stamp the paperwork, sign it, and then it gets moved into stores for packaging.
Okay, so it's literally going to be packaged for someone to buy it.
Correct.
Wow.
And
Should we
then
have-
shipped.
Should we have a look at the packaging?
Yeah, let's do.
Let's go. Right, Manny, this is where we started, and I can see through this plastic bag what looks to be now, is it a final wheel? Have we made it genuinely from this single ply to the wheel?
We did.
Nice, okay.
It
So
took a while.
It's passed a lot of inspection as well.
We're going to see that before packing it.
Okay,
So you can see everything has been stamped by the technician that made it. The label is on it, serial number on it. So yeah, this passed all the...
this is it. This is
That's
the wheel.
it. That's the final wheel.
So someone's going to be driving on this on their rig, anywhere in the world, basically.
Correct?
Cool. And finally, the packaging,
Yes.
because this is the Ford Mustang wheel. So we've got this lovely box with the Mustang on it, obviously, and then the colours as well. And we've got a VPG. I guess the cable goes in there.
Yeah, we've got the accessory box with cable and stickers.
Great. How important is the unboxing experience for you? Is it important or not important?
I think it's part of the experience because you're going to unbox the thing you bought just once,
Yeah.
right? And it's like when you get a parcel from Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that? What's that?
Yeah.
So you're excited about
But I don't keep my parcels from Amazon, but I think I wouldn't be able to throw this away. There's something about it.
It's part of the wheel itself.
Yeah.
It's about the experience, but also when you get a new toy, you want excitement when you open it. And that's what we thought when we were designing the actual box.
Well, let's finish the journey, Manny. If you want to put it in, and actually, this is how they are going to receive it. Look at that. And that all happens on site here in the UK,
Correct? Yeah.
which is crazy. So that is actual UK manufacturing assembly of this wheel,
Designed
design,
and
everything,
engineered.
of an American wheel.
Yes.
So there's a lot of stuff coming together. Like, yeah, I really hope you found this video helpful. I mean, I've learned a huge amount. I didn't know so much. And if you told me that this becomes this, I actually wouldn't have believed you. But you can see how much skill and expertise goes into it. There's a lot of people who are obviously very skilled at what they do,
Yep.
and they're able to transform this into this. So not all wheels are the same. But if you've got any questions, let us know in the comments. I'm sure VPG would be happy to explain more things that I haven't said very clearly.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, Manny, on like you know how to do this, on the process of how to make a wheel?
Yeah. Well, you went through all the steps.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting. Even if it's not the master, but it's quite interesting to learn about composites and how it goes from one ply to an actual final product.
Pretty crazy. All right, we'll see you next video.